Good morning, everybody. I am Chris Kaishen Hoff, a Dharma teacher with the Empty Moon Zen Sangha. And this is my talk. This week I visited Sedona, Arizona, and Sedona is a place I have visited regularly since the first time I visited over 25 years ago. I know this might be cliche, but I just like the vibe and its beauty, of course. Sedona is known for a lot of things, but Zen, not so much. That might be changing as I discovered that there is a Dharma successor of Roshi Pat Enkyo Ohara of the village Zendo in New York with a center in Sedona now. But I'm sure most of you know Sedona as the place with the vortexes, psychics, crystals, and various spiritual gurus of all kinds. I even found myself standing in line at the local vegan lunch spot behind a well-known transformational motivational speaker. He was being hit up by one of his fans. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that Sedona is Mecca for the love and light folks. It was also while I was in Sedona that I found out about another mass shooting at a school that killed 19 children and 2 adults. The light and the dark. Regarding the shooting in Texas, I don't know if I can add anything to the conversation that hasn't already been said over and over again. But this recent experience of being in the land of love and light has me wanting to talk about the dark. There's a poem by Robert Bly I often return to and use in my therapy practice. It's titled Warning to the Reader, and it goes, "Sometimes farm granaries become especially beautiful when all the oats or wheat are gone, and the wind has swept the rough floor clean. Standing inside, we see around us, coming in through the cracks between shrunken wallboards, bands or strips of sunlight. So in a poem about imprisonment, one sees a little light. But how many birds have died trapped in these granaries? The bird, seeing the bands of light, flutters up the walls and falls back again and again. The way out is where the rats enter and leave. But the rat's hole is low to the floor. Writers, be careful then by showing the sunlight on the walls, not to promise the anxious and panicky blackbirds a way out. I say to the reader, beware. Readers who love poems of light may sit hunched in the corner with nothing in their gizzards for 4 days, light failing, the eyes glazed. They may end as a mound of feathers and a skull on the open boardwood floor. After I saw that motivational celebrity in line at the restaurant, I did some exploring of his and other social media and saw promise after promise of a way out. One even promising with just a quick glance they could change your vibrational energy from a distance. They all had big followings. Quite seductive stuff for us anxious and panicky blackbirds. Zen promises us nothing. Zen promises us everything. When I first started studying Zen, in all honesty, I too was searching for a way out. As shallow as it may seem, the aesthetics of Zen, coupled with its coolness factor, the beats were into it, seemed to me to be a path I could get behind in my search for real help, with how to live in the world. Regardless of the shallowness that brought me to this practice, once I began to settle in, I knew something serious and real was happening here. In my naivety, I thought that Zen would make me feel better, do better, and get better. But something else happened. I got worse. Zen wanted me to see the moon reflected in the pond, sure, but Zen also asked me to go into the dark, where the rats enter and leave. I like to think this is when my great doubt was awakened. My Zen path has been hard, that's the truth. I've wanted to quit several times. I have experienced what I've come to learn are dark nights of the soul on more than one occasion. I have often wondered, when is the payoff? And through it all, no one has promised me anything other than what was happening in that moment. There's been no advice giving, no encouraging me to look for the positive in a difficult time, just a pointing. Often that pointing is into the dark, or where the rat's hole is, low to the floor. We live in a world increasingly in search of a quick fix. I've been a therapist long enough to know enough now to have experienced several hot new things that have promised greatly exaggerated and often unsubstantiated claims. Social media influencers everywhere preach a version of self love that encourages followers to walk away from anything that doesn't serve them. Or, as writer Sarah Schulman says, we live in a time where the ideology of do what feels right is considered the individual's best guide to ethical action. Pretending what is comfortable or easiest is what is right is tragic self deception. We will always live in a world where there will be folks lining up to promise us escape in all sorts of ways. And there will always be children murdered. It's the broken world we live in. The bad news? There's no escaping our life as it really is. I use the Bly poem in my practice as encouragement for people to face the dark, the ghosts and shadows of our lives. This is where Zen's great doubt can help us, opening a curiosity about all our lives, not just the good stuff. Zen has taught me that the light is in the dark, or the way out is where the rats enter and leave. Bly's poem also is a good reminder for those of us who want to be teachers of the way. Replace writers with teachers and you get teachers. Be careful then by showing the sunlight on the walls not to promise the anxious and panicky blackbirds a way out. It is also encouragement for those of us looking for a way out. Replace readers with students and you get, I say to the student of the way, beware. Students who love poems of light may sit hunched in the corner with nothing in their gizzards for 4 days, light failing, the eyes glazed. They may end as a mound of feathers and skull on the open boardwood floor. Sometimes I think great doubt, the deep wonder and curiosity of us and the world, has been more beneficial to me than great faith. I don't know. There's a compliment that Zen folks give each other about having an eye for Zen. I think part of that eye is being careful not to get blinded by the light, and also an ability to look into the dark. Thank you.
Chris, thank you